Okay, let's try to find the main range of a few functions. So say we have this first function, 3x squared plus 4, and I want to find the domain of it. That means I want to know what can I input into this function. So what can I actually put into x squared? So the easiest way to do these, I think, is to look at your main options. Can you put a negative in? Can you put a 0 in? And can you put a positive in? And you're trying to say, can I put these into what's happening to my function? So you want to know what is happening to your function. In this case, the thing happening to my function is it's being squared. That's kind of the weird thing that's happening. So I want to know, can I square a negative? And would I get a real answer if I do? I would. I can square -5. I can square -2. Sure. Can I square 0? Yeah, I can square 0. Can I square a positive? Yeah, I can square a positive. So my domain then, I can square negatives, so all negatives. I can square 0, and I can square positives. So everything, I'm allowed to square everything. So my domain is going to be -infinity to infinity. So get domain of my second one. Again, I'm going to look at negatives, 0, and positives. And I'm going to say, am I allowed to take the square root? I'm going to ignore plus 6 for a minute, but am I allowed to take a square root of a negative? And no, I can't take square root of -4. I get an imaginary number. So I can't get a real number from an imaginary number. I can't graph that. I can't do things with that. So I'm not allowed to take a square root of a negative number. Can I take square root of 0? Sure, square root of 0 is 0. Can I take square root of a positive number? Sure, square root of 9 is 3. Can do that. So my domain, my x, has to start at 0, and it can be equal to 0, so greater than or equal to 0. And it's not x this time, though. It's inside the square root is x plus 6. So the thing inside the square root has to be greater than or equal to 0. Well, I know how to solve inequalities. I'm just going to subtract 6, subtract 6. So x is going to be greater than or equal to -6. Can write that in function or in set notation. If I write that in set notation, -6 will be my starting point, and it will go up to infinity. Infinity always uses a parentheses, and this time it's equal, so I'm going to use a bracket. Okay, so that's domain. Let's look at the range then. The range is saying, what can I get out of a function? So again, I'm going to look at the three things. Negative, 0, and positive, and I'm going to say, can I get these out of this function? So if I square something, can I square something to get a negative? And well, if I square -2, I get a positive. If I square 2, I get a positive. So I really can't get a negative when I square something. Can I square something to get a 0? Sure, square 0, that's fine. Can I square something to get a positive? Sure. So the lowest my range could be would be 0. Lowest my range would be 0 all the way up to positives. But in this case, I'm not just squaring stuff. I'm also adding 4 to whatever I square. So if the lowest my range could be is 0 and I add 4 to it, then really the lowest my range can be would be 4 to infinity. So let's look at square root. If I take the square root of something, can I get a negative from taking the square root of something? And really I can't. If I take square root of 9, I get 3. Square root by itself denotes a positive root. If I take square root of 25, I get 5, so I can't get a negative. Can I get a 0? Sure. Can I get a positive? Sure. So again, my range would be 0 to positive infinity. In this case, there's nothing happening outside this function that would affect the y's. So my range will just be 0 to positive infinity.